Hello everybody. Today I'm bringing you a two-page layout and I'm going to lift this layout that I'm showing you here. I will show you that layout and another one that's I've lifted again at the end of the video in some detail shots, or in some still shots I should say. I lifted these layouts from a layout by Schmel Lane years ago. I don't have it anymore because I just keep lifting my own layouts, but the original idea was hers, just so you know that. I'm going to be working with some photos from the 4th of July fireworks, which at here where I live, in this particular case, we're on the 3rd of July. We went to a lake and watched the fireworks on a pontoon boat. I was thinking about putting all the photos on that paper, but there would have been no border. So what I'm doing right now, or there would have not been a border around them. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of measuring to make sure that I can get the same width of paper, because these photos are going to go across the page. And when you do a two-page layout, it's a really good idea to have some photos, or some things I should say, go across the page, because it helps really join the two pages together. Now you can do a mirror image layout, but this one is not a mirror image, but you want some things that cross from one side to the other to really bring it together. As I just said, I repeated myself, but that's okay. So I'm putting a border around each of the photos here. That paper there is from Bella Boulevard. The aqua kind of asterisk looking paper is from Bella Boulevard. From their Simply Spring collection, it's called the Daily Details paper. So just so you know, as you look at these photos, I did not actually take these. I was cameraless, including I left my iPhone at home because I wanted to experience the, or I left the iPhone back at the house that I was at. I wanted to experience the fireworks and the company of these friends and not be taking pictures. But my friend, one of my friends, took photos of us and also the fireworks. So I asked her to send me these photos. So they are Kathy's photos. That little journaling card there that I got, that I just put on the layout, is an L Studio printable. They gave away some printables for free around the 4th of July, and that is one of them, and I've used those quite a few times now. So right now what I'm doing is just sort of looking at how these things are going to lay across the page, and again looking at getting some elements going onto both papers. One of the reasons I love this layout and I love lifting this particular layout so much is that you can use both horizontal and vertical photos in it, and really these are 4x6 photos. So I have 5 4x6 photos on these two pages, and I love that. What I did there is I just cut down that circle and asterisk paper, and it kind of reminds me of fireworks. It's from the Bella Boulevard All-American collection, and the paper is called July Sky, so kind of well named, I guess. If it reminds you of fireworks, reminds me of fireworks. And I just cut so there's a border going on both sides there. Then what I'm going to do is I grabbed that red and blue paper. That again is from Bella Boulevard, as I get my head in the way there. The red and blue striped paper is Bella Boulevard All-American, again, for the collection, and it's called Boom Boom Pow, which I love that. And I love that stripe. It's just a really nice, bold way, and it really draws your attention to the center of these two pages, which is just a really nice way of uniting them. Now you have to be really careful though that they're positioned properly so that it does look like they belong together. This layout for me will go into my 12x12 D-ring albums. I use the American Crafts albums, and so you know, they will be separated, but you'll definitely see them across the page. So now I am bringing in this piece of navy diagonal stripe paper that is also Bella Boulevard from the Color Chaos collection, and it's called Blueberry Strands. I believe I received this in my Bella Boulevard warehouse box, if I remember correctly. So I'm just kind of getting the position of everything down here. I grabbed some pieces, cut apart pieces, and I'm going to start the cutting, and then I'll just, I deleted that footage so that you didn't have to watch me cut all these things apart, because that will be kind of boring. I just started this, so let me skip. So there, now they're all done. But those pieces, the flowers, the United States there, and then there'll be some little fireworks on the right side there, though. Those all came from the Bell Boulevard All-American Borders and Cute Cuts paper. So one side is these sort of die cuts and the other side are all borders. So I have things kind of generally where I want them, but before I can really decide where I want everything to go for sure and how it's going to lay out, I need to get my title figured out. Because until I do that, I won't know how much space it's going to take. And I played around a little bit with what this was going to look like, what the title was going to look like, or the words that it was going to be, because of spacing and letters that I had available, actually. And I kind of played with doing the title there on the bottom, and then quickly decided that I liked it up on top there because, again, that brings the two pages together and it takes up some of the space there right up by that little flower there. The alphabet that I'm using is American Cross Thickers. They're the glitter thickers in the doll font, and the color is navy, just in case you're looking for those. That is an older thickers set, and I love it. I'm gonna be sad. I love that doll font. They have it available in lots of different things. So now I'm just cutting, I'm trying to get the spacing between the two pages right because, you know, now that I know how tall that fireworks is and that this is going to work, I'm going to want to get some of these pages down. And honestly, or some of these papers down, honestly, one of the things that takes the longest on this is getting some of that from one side of the paper to the other right and down. Now the nice thing is that my background is a polka dot, and it's a straight polka dot, so it's a little bit easier for me to figure out the arrangement there. So I got that, I have that down. My English is horrible there, sorry. My English teacher would not be very happy with me right now. Anyway, the one thing is, because, you know, I had to cut that that circle paper, the circle and asterisk paper that I'm holding onto right there, it wasn't obviously wide enough for me to do one almost 24-inch long strip. So that pattern doesn't match exactly, but with a pattern like that, not such a big deal. And most of the join between the two papers is actually covered by the photos, so that's not disturbing. But when you do something like this, when you run papers across from side to side, and even using the two background papers, like I have the same background paper, be very careful how you do that. One of my layouts that's going to be at the end will only have a piece of paper on the right side of the layout, that vertical paper. But when you run that vertical paper across, you have to be really careful because, as you can see there, it has to match almost perfectly. So just a little caution as you're doing this, pick the right papers. And what I do when I do this layout, or any two-page layout, is I really kind of lay out my papers first to kind of figure out what I think that's going to look like, even more so than normally. I kind of start with that idea and then I just start cutting as I go. It's not as easy to do that when you're doing something like this because you really need to know where things are. And I'm not quite sure where I went here, what I'm looking at or looking for. I think I'm looking at letters, trying to decide if I want to do another font. I think that's what it was, is I was toying with doing another font because I don't have enough ease for the title. I think I was going to do something like fireworks on the lake, and then I didn't have enough of the letters. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take D's or P's or Q's. I think I did an upside down Q. And so then I'll make those into E's is what's going to happen, because I knew I was going to need to use more than one. And I know what I was originally going to do. I was going to spell out the name of the lake near me, and then, you know, call it that place name, and then fireworks. But I realized that it had a lot of E's in it. I live in an area with a lot of Native American city names, and there's a lot of vowels in them. So that wasn't going to work. So I decided to change the name of the title here to Fireworks at the Lake. And then that way I had enough cues or other letters that I could create the title that I needed to create. And again, I'm checking a little bit here for spacing as I do this. So in this particular case, I think I ended up with 3 E's. So that's looking pretty good to me now. I like the spacing of how the title's sitting. And that's what I was looking for. I wanted to look at the height of the title just to make sure that it wasn't like that the title wasn't on the same line as the top of that diagonal stripe paper was, because it just looks a little off balance when you do that. And you can see I'm just getting like edges of these things down if I have other paper, because then I can kind of work around it to get the spacing on the other paper right. And that's honestly why these kinds of layouts take me an hour to do, is to just get all that spacing right. I'm checking, you know, the borders, making sure that the border at the top of that diagonal stripe paper block, at the side and at the bottom, is all the same. The border to the left isn't the same, and that's okay because that looks intentional. But if the other 3 borders weren't the same, it would look a little goofy. So those are the kinds of things that you want to look for to help your layout be balanced. And as I'm gluing that journaling card down, I was shifting it a little bit here and there, and that's again because I want to make sure that it's above the top, or it needs to be above or below the line of that white circle paper that I'm using there. And it's all about the balance of helping the layout look more balanced. Okay, so just making sure that my title is going to sit properly here. And it is, so I'm going to get that down, and now I'm creating my E's out of cues. If you watch my videos, you'll see me do this kind of thing a lot. My favorite thing to do is make E's out of C's, but I think I had used everything but one C. And when I do it, I try to, if I'm using like a cue for one E and I have other E's, I try to use cues for all the other ones, because it just looks a little bit more, it looks like it's supposed to be, versus that I created that letter out of another letter. It's the best way to describe that. So that's just a little something for you to be aware of as you're making or creating letters or whatever you're doing. Okay, and this is a big long word, but I like that that's a long word because it takes up a lot of that top space. One of the differences between this layout and some of the other layouts is at the top left there's a lot of red space, and I actually left that. In the original layout, and I think in almost all the other layouts that I've done where I've lifted it, I've put something up in that top space, but there was so much going on in these photos with some of the clusters there that I just decided to leave it. And if I remember correctly, I was going to say I made another cluster, but I may not have. I think that the cluster I'm working with right now may have been an extra cluster, but I don't remember that for sure. But you'll be able to see that in the end. What I'm doing right there is I grabbed these doilies. They're little mini doilies from AB Tangerine, and I think they're from the Finders Keepers collection, but I don't remember. The one thing I hate about them is that none of the holes are punched out, and it is a pain in the neck to punch them out. So I just decided to leave them in their white, almost like floral bursts, and you know, the fireworks kind of have that burst look to them as well too. So I thought that that worked pretty well. And I'm just getting, and I cut out another piece from that cute cut sheet, those little kind of firework floral things on the right. I'm looking for something else to put into some of these clusters, and I grabbed that striped card with the little white space above it there. That was again a printable from the Elle Studio 4th of July collection, and I grabbed my heart punch. I wanted something else to go up in this cluster up here. So I'm going to play with this a little bit to get that spacing right. And that looks better. that's going to move. Okay, and it's moving again. It'll move a couple of times. The other thing, as I'm looking at this, I'm looking because that flower is just about covering that one person's head in the photo just to the right of it. So I'm having to be careful that the flower isn't over the top of his, right on his head. I didn't want to do that. So I'm just putting a few little pieces of glue down to get that all down. And I'm realizing, well, I can't just put the heart in just one collection, one of those clusters. It needs to go into at least another one. I was so glad that USA, that's one thing that I didn't tell you. The USA did come from the Cute Cuts paper, but it was a 3x4 card that I just cut the USA out of. And I've had that 3x4 card sitting around for quite a while and just couldn't figure out what the heck I was going to do with that. But once I did this, it decided to cut it out. It worked out great. It was perfect. I did grab a little red flower sticker there from the Bella Boulevard Color Chaos trinket sheet. It's a little tiny, probably 3x6, well, probably 3x8 sheet of stickers. So I'm going to add that in that collection. And then I'm kind of thinking I'm going to put that little red firework into that collection on the left. But when I start playing around with that heart in there, I don't like those two things together for some reason with the other one. So I'm going to play with that a little bit. I thought about putting it up by the title, but that just created one more cluster, and I just thought that I already have enough. I didn't need any more clusters. So playing with it, trying to get it right. And I think the reason it doesn't look right to me is there's 4 pieces, and the heart and that doily are like next to each other, plus the other little piece, and they are about the same size. So I'm going to kind of play with that for a little bit. That red piece is going to end up back there, but I'm playing with it first. What I'm doing right now is I'm sticking on, and this is what I do, is I stick it on my Scotch foam tape. I buy the big roll at Amazon, and my roll is, quote, almost gone compared to what it looks like. I had ordered another one about a month ago just because I had an Amazon order going, and I knew I was going to need it, and I don't order from Amazon all that much. I know, crazy. How can that be? But anyway, so once I brought that little red firework thing on the left cluster there up on the foam tape, it really just helped it look a lot better to me. And I will put one element in each of the clusters up on that foam tape. Just getting things a little bit more glued down since I was not all that particular about it. Okay, and now I'm looking and thinking, okay, I need some touches here, some end touches. And those are I'm going to put some enamel dots in. So these blue enamel dots are from Bella Boulevard Enamel Dots. They're in the blueberry color. And I forgot to tell you, now that I think about it, that heart punch that I was using came from Martha Stewart from Michael's ages ago. I don't think they have those. I don't think Martha Stewart's at Michael's anymore. If I remember, I heard they were clearing it out. I haven't been there in a few weeks. Those red enamel dots that I'm putting down right now are from Doodlebug. They're the sprinkles, and I'm going to use 2 different colors of them. I did play with using some more enamel dots or hearts and things from and I'm losing my train of thought, sorry, from Bella Boulevard, and ended up not doing that. But I'm going to use Doodlebug enamel dots, the sprinkles, they're called sprinkles, from the Ladybug and Christmas assortments. I have some Recollections enamel dots out there right now, but I'm not going to end up using those. I'll find my other pack. I'm working really hard to use up some of my enamel dots. I've made my own from perler beads, but enamel dots just hang around forever. As much as I use them on most of my layouts, it's just a little crazy. Here are the still shots. This is one of the layouts I created like it. and then the second one will be coming up. And then just, you know, in the still shots, you'll see some word stickers that I put in clusters. Those are from My Mind's Eye, the cut and paste collection, Charm Suite, and they're the tiny word stickers. And there's the still shot with a couple detailed shots following on the layout. Hope you are all well. I'll be back with another layout soon. Bye.